Now, if you ever wondered why you'd want to come to New Zealand, I'll give you 12 reasons right there. Now that is what you call an absolute stonker, and that's just magnificent. And if you wonder if the new Stalker Legend's any good, that's another 12 good reasons for it as well. Absolute beautiful fish. Plenty of power, and that's in the fast 6 weight, which is what you need to stop an absolute horse like this. I don't know if you can see the depth. This is an absolute incredible fish. That's a fish of a lifetime. And yeah, we'll put him back and somebody else can catch that as well. Beautiful. Man, that is a thumper. That is a thumper. G'day, I'm Gavin from Hurley's Fly Fishing. Southland, New Zealand is an amazing place that you really need to experience to appreciate. I generally put it into about 4 different seasons, and I'll show you some of the action that we've experienced over each of those seasons. I tend to break it up from probably early season, October, through to about mid-December. You can get some rain, you can get some snow melt, generally higher water levels, but the fish are in there that you can certainly still see. Going to be a lot of nymph activity, but you can also get some good mayfly hatches as well, so that's worth considering at times. Once you get sort of about halfway through December into, I guess, your January and February is another completely different time of year. You do get some more hatches, but also the willow grubs really come into play, and that's an exceptional way to go fishing in the Southland region. You also get on some of the larger freestone rivers some good cicada action as well, or even a big blowfly, and that can certainly bring some of the larger fish undone at that time of year. I guess your third part is into your March and April, and that's an incredible time for all sight fishing, but also targeting rising fish on some of these mayfly hatches. At times you can get to the river at 9 or 10 o'clock and you'll have rising fish right through till complete darkness, so it's a pretty exceptional day. And the last part, when these rivers close at the end of the year, which is the last day of April, there's other rivers that flow in and out of some of these lakes, and we specialise in areas around Tianu. Those rivers there where the fish will come up out of the lake and you can literally target groups of fish, and there's some monsters in amongst them as well. So we'll show you some of that action on what you can achieve over here in Southland. And I hope to show you the opportunities that Southland has to offer. Now, New Zealand is renowned for its sight fishing because the water's generally so clear. And at times, if you've got low levels and clear water and a lot of sun, the fish are sometimes very easy to spot. You still need good Polaroids. I wear tonics because I find they're the best in that brown lens. You can also wear like a lighter colour too, which is like in a yellow, and that can enhance the light as well, particularly if it gets really dark or early in the morning, late in the evening. But I think what you need to be wary of is when you're walking up a river, walk at a pace where you've got time to see all the different areas. Constantly, I mean, you're always going to be in a rush because you want to find that fish, but if you're walking too fast before your eyes get there, oh, I've just spooked one. Oh, I've just spooked that one. Oh, I've spooked that one. Because you haven't had a chance for your eyes to cover that area. So as you walk up, virtually look in a grid system, look in all the different areas before you continue to move on. And that's going to show you fish, because sometimes they will be right at the feet before you've seen them. So take your time and you're going to see a lot more fish. If you can see that fish there just in front of all that debris there, he'll just sit there because it's almost like a suction. As that water comes down, it's displaced by either rocks or, in this case, a little bit of timber, and he'll sit there and it almost just keeps him in place without having to spend too much energy. But that's what we're looking for. As we walk up a river, we're looking for something like that. Sometimes they will be obvious, just like an actual painting. Other times it'll be like a smudge, a slightly different colour. Then you might see a little bit of movement. But just take your time, and the more you fish, the more you're looking for them, the more you're going to see. So I've got to dry, because they're starting to rise now. I've got a little Adam's parachute in a 16. We're going to throw that up there in front of him, and hopefully he's going to grab it. Oh, it's nice. And he knew as soon as he took that, oh, as he's coming rushing towards me, and we're still attached, which is good. As soon as he took that, I reckon he knew that dun had a hook in it, and there was a bit of fly line attached. I can see the fright in his eyes there, but that's good. Sometimes you're just walking up the stream and you've just got to take your time. You might notice things a bit more, and in this case there was just a little bit of movement, and we sort of slowed up a bit and watched, and then there was a fish rising, which is great. So sometimes it just pays to go a little bit slower, and you never know what you can come up with. And we'll just try and use the rod. I don't want him to go out into that current too much, so if I hold him that way, and a shorter line can certainly steer them a lot easier, and if I can subdue him a bit, that'd be good. Come on, no, he's not gonna. And that's the problem with current, even though he's not a big fish, and it just pulled out, but that's okay as well. Not a big fish, once they get into the current, that sort of almost doubles or trebles their weight, and he's just pulling in there. And if you were fair dinkum, I suppose, you'd run downstream, let him go and net him, 50 metres downstream. You'd get a bit blasé once you've caught a couple, and there's a few more rising up here. So, yeah, we frightened him anyway. So that's almost caught, almost. Got another one rising there on the left pretty constantly. Let's just see if we can put this in front of him. There, and that worked okay. And that's half the thing. Again, like we talk about the visual aspect, seeing him rise, I mean, that's great, but a good pair of glasses, you can see under the surface, watch him, and if you can get that fly where it needs to be in the first or second cast, it really pays dividends, like is what's happening here. And he's a little bit bigger, this one, so we after that other one getting away, it might be a little bit more gun shy, so I might pay attention a bit more. So we just got him here, and again there's a couple more rising up there as well. So again, they're just beautiful, strong fish. They're just good, powerful fish. I mean, that's a 6 weight with a good bit of stick on it. In the stalker glide, and I find that much better for steering these fish around. Then when you do get the better ones, it's a lot easier as well, but I'll try and get him in. We're nearly though, nearly. You can see him sort of tiring. That's me, not the fish, but like that, and we can get him in. So that's a lot better. If you can get the fish in the net, it makes you feel a bit better as well. Well, I can see more rising just up ahead. So New Zealand, it's just a place, oh, it's just amazing. You've just got to try and get here and really experience it. And that's just in great nick. I mean, oh yeah, he's still ready to go too. Just a great specimen there, really thick across the body there. That's plenty of power. That's just a good fit fish after the spawn run, early in the season now. So he's in pretty good nick. So that's something that is just great fish to target early in the season over here in Southland. And that's just a beautiful fish. I mean, that's why you do it, to walk up a river, beautiful surroundings. You've got snow up the top up there. You've got lovely, clean, clear, fresh water here. And you've got just under 4 pounds, this one anyway. And I'm sure he's got a bigger mate up there, taking a dry fly that you can sight fish to. That's why you've done all that practice at home. Learn how to cast around corners, learn what fly to choose, and it makes it all worthwhile. It's just incredible colours, and I just find these just a magnificent fish to target, and it's good. There you go, beautiful. And that makes it all worthwhile, And a great little spot here, as we can see plenty of actual duns, which is the Mayfly. He's lived as a nymph under a rock for 2 years, swum to the surface, broken out. He'll put his wings out through the surface and he'll look like a little sailing boat. He needs those wings to dry before he can fly away. And then he'll change to a spinner, live for a day, and then she's all over. But from a fishing point of view, this is when it gets exciting, because the fish, just like this one just up above here, is rising pretty furiously because he knows this isn't going to last. So I've got to get this fly in front of him before he realises I'm here. Right in front of it. Come on. Oh! Don't hook them all. I might have been a little bit too, again, too fast. You see it take it. Normally when you're fishing from behind, it sets the hook anyway. That one didn't. Because I should have waited till he's gone down again before you hook him. But anyway, you don't catch every single one. Yeah, nice. Now I could just see him cruising around this backwater, and I'll just concentrate for a minute. It's just that log. And it's just a matter of putting that fly where he can, I guess, see it, but also find it himself. In backwaters in particular, they're just cruising around and they know their environment, they know their home. So we've got to put something there that they just happen to find. They go, oh wow, there it is, bang. And with that one there, that nymph, I could see him, I was probably a metre ahead, and he's darted straight across for it and took it like it owed him money. So, terrific fish, and a lovely backwater. Again, you know, like you spend a fair bit of time on these rivers, and they do have backwaters like this, which are just incredible, have some really great fish in them. So it's worth spending a bit of time to get one on the end of your rod. Just get that in, come on mate. Beautiful, beautiful fish, and it's just so exciting to be walking up a river. You've got a little bit of everything, you know, you've got your moving water where you can get your nymphs, indicator fishing, your dries when they're going to come up, but also the backwaters. It's really stealthy, finding your target and putting that fly in front of it, and when it works, and it's great fun doing it. Get him out. Oh, he's easy. Bit over 3 pound easy. Lovely big tail, just stunning colours, and again just fit, just thoroughbreds. So if the Melbourne Cup was in New Zealand, this little bloke would be in it. Just incredible fish, just the depth and plenty of go. We've just found a fish right on the edge, and he's only in probably 6 inches of water, so I'm going to go with a little blowy, just put that right in front of him, and hopefully the blowies create that reaction that he's going to grab it. But he looks to be a reasonable fish, so with a bit of luck we'll get him on the end of this. Yep, and that was a pretty good take there. And that's that blowfly. I mean, it's pretty cold, but they just can't resist, and he'll be a sizable fish. That was good. We always say you need your first cast to be one of your better ones, and the more you cast, you're almost halving the chances of catching the fish, because they just know something's wrong. And he'll surprise us. The size of this fish, he's a good fish. He's a good fish. They're going to have a bit of power, so all you can do is get a good rod, stalker glide, always going to be hard to beat in a 6-weight. They're going to be pretty powerful fish. Keep the pressure on. We'll try and keep him out of those rocks, and if I keep that rod high, that'll keep the line hopefully away from the rocks, and we'll just work him back. The only other thing to worry about too is a lot of these undercut banks, and they'll get in there and there'll be lots of grass roots and tree roots, and they'll literally rub that fly out and end up losing them. So if we can just work him and see how he goes. Good fish. Yep, let's just get that. Now he's just holding, he's not sort of going anywhere. If we can get that net in him, and that's a ripper. That's an absolute ripper. 5:45. 5:45, that's not too bad on a wet day. You'd put up with that, put up with that. Just the depth on that is incredible, incredible. Just a beautiful fish. Just a male, and we better get him back in. Perfect. Today we're up high in a Southland river system, and we've got some crystal clear water with a stunning backdrop. I'm fishing today with Scott and Shauna, and this is just an amazing place. You generally need a couple of people. One is a spotter, and Scott will walk up and find these fish, and then you're lucky enough to have a couple of fishermen, and that's myself and Shauna. It's an incredible place. The fish are often bigger because the water's a lot cooler, more oxygenated. So they're pretty energetic fish, and they can grow pretty big sometimes as well. So the idea is that Scott will walk on the other side, which is better for the sun, but not better to fish from. So he'll walk up along that bank, hopefully spot a fish, and then we'll cast from this side. He's also, as well as the spotter, he'll let you know when the fish takes it as well. So he'll give us a yep or a strike or whatever when that fish takes. It's very hard to see, as you can see, with that sun glare. So it pays just to have a spotter on the right side of the river. 2
meters upstream of me, about 1.5 meters off my bank in the real fast water.
Yep. Yeah, beautiful. That is teamwork. Oh, that's incredible. And we're in a stunning location, up high in the river systems in Southland, and this is incredible. And what you've just seen there is how you fish New Zealand. You've got Scott, who's the spotter, and is an excellent guide, by the way. And I can't see in that water because of the glare. So Scott's on that side. He's found that fish because he's got good eyes, and he can see what these trout are like when they're hidden down there. We've gone through probably half a dozen fly changes to get the depth, change the indicators that we can see it, and all I'm doing is just casting where I'm told, and I'm like a little mouse trap waiting for Scott to yell out lift, and then you whack it straight away. Absolutely fantastic. And they'll be good fish. I mean, he's not a monster. They certainly do get them pretty big up here. But just in a stunning location like this, I mean, we've got snow-capped mountains, lovely crystal clear water, and you've got beautiful brown trout like this. You just can't spend a day in any better location. No, we've still got a bit of go on him.
They weren't coming in easy.
No.
So I thought to slow them and just got wearing themselves out.
Yep. A little bit wrapped and in the net, and they all count. And that's a beautiful start. Thanks, mate. Well done. Thanks, mate.
You fish
beautiful.
There.
Thank you.
I'll be over here.
Yeah. And that's a great start. I mean, that's a beautiful fish. We'll get him out in a second. But a brown trout like this is just absolutely amazing in stunning location. I mean, you just look up there and you go, well, that's pretty cool with the snow. You look over there, you've got lovely rolling mountains, crystal clear water. It's just, you just can't find a better place to spend a bit of time. So let's have a look at this fish. A bit over 4.5, which is still a great fish. So any fish is a good fish, but 4.5 is pretty cool as well.
I've got one of those. I've got him in the mountains. I've got a friend beach.
Oh,
there you go. Stick caddis, that's what we got him on, but mostly micro nymphs.
Wow.
Big
So that's a hare's ear.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
See how the black wing case he's going to hatch today?
Yeah.
The others are all juveniles.
Yep. Well, yeah. That's an assortment of different.
Yeah, so it was more about depth by the look of it than the fly. Just getting it down to him.
So this is what an assortment of things that he could be eating, and that's a horned caddis.
Yep, which is what we got him on, a pattern that looked like that.
Yep, and they're just, what are these other nymphs?
We've got juvenile mayfly nymphs, deletidiums.
Yep.
All these guys. This fella here is a stonefly.
Yep.
So these are both two species of stoneflies. That's a deletidium mayfly that's going to hatch because his wing case is black. And then we have some free swimming caddis grubs over here, these green guys. Look at these guys still alive.
He's happy.
So he's just been eaten.
Yep.
So quite a good assortment of stuff. from on the bottom.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, there you go. That's an absolute stunning brown from up high in this river system, and just beautiful at around about 4.5 pounds, ideal. And there are some bigger fish. The higher up in these river systems you do get some rather large fish, but size isn't everything, and this is absolutely fantastic. So we'll just hold him up there. She'll just work out when she's good to go, and she'll swim out of your hands. But a beautiful fish and perfect, good to go. So that's an ideal start on a lovely day over here in New Zealand. So hopefully there's some more further upstream. We've got one, again they're all very hard to see because it's a motley difference in there, but we can just see it's a sort of like a lighter brown colour against what are sometimes black rocks. So you need to look at that for a little while, and then every now and then you might see it move, and that definitely gives it away as a fish. So I'm going to put these nymphs in front of it and get him to take it.
Don't count that one, Dad.
No.
I'll just further upstream, but not so far to the left of us.
Okay.
Oh, coming. Got him.
There we go. Oh,
yeah, definitely.
lovely. That was cool. We
Have to get a bit deeper, I think.
yeah, to get that down for him to see it. Cut the cast there. And I think that's exactly what it is. We talk about it often, you know, about getting that fly at the right depth for a nymph, and that's what it took. There was quite a few casts there until he actually saw it at his depth and then makes the choice, which is terrific. And it's just beautiful to get a fish, any fish is terrific, but it just in this environment, I know I keep going on about it, but this is just amazing. I mean, you just don't get this in most parts of the world. So to walk up a valley like this, catch fish like this, it's just gold. Perfect. Got it? Great. And he's behaving pretty well, this fish, which is good. Here, there's not a lot of willows or anything to give us too much grief. The only things you have to be careful of are undercut banks. And we're pretty good here. And he'll be ready in a sec. He's still got a bit of go in him, but once he's ready, I'll get his head up, and Shauna will be able to get that net under him. But the main thing is, particularly at this time, is not to panic. We all want it in the net, but we don't have to have it in the next 10 seconds. So just use your rod and let the rod do all the work, and let him fight against it, tire him out, and get him in the best position to get that net safely under him. He likes that fast current, and that's why they've got a bit more going at it. The water is as like quite cold and very oxygenated, and it gives them plenty of energy. And we're almost good to get him in there, and beautiful, gets him in there. So that's a good result in a stunning location like this, and he's just a beautiful fish. Not the monsters that we're hoping for, but they're absolutely beautiful just the same. And he's easily, what, 11, 12 pounds, Shauna?
Oh yeah.
13. Yeah. Good. That catch and release tool is just gold. And just to show everyone at home what a stunning fish that is. I mean, the browns there are incredible. Spots, incredible. Originated, these fish in particular, from Tasmania, and originally from the UK as well.
Ready.
And this is the perfect place for it. So well done, champ. Thanks for the netting.
You bet.
Woo!
In time.
All right, now we'll just find another one.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Just walked up the river, and we've just spotted one just feeding under the surface, just on the edge of that fast water there. And he's taking nymphs. Not a big fish, but they're all fish. And we think we may even take a dry or an emerger just under the surface. We're getting to about 1 o'clock, which is a great time, particularly in October, for the duns to start hatching, which is why these fish are feeding quite aggressively now. So just got him in here with a couple of dries. Bit of breeze. Beautiful. And you certainly love that dry.
The little one goes, eh?
Yeah, that's it. And it actually is a reasonable fish that will, and that's the problem in that undercut bank, but we'll just get the pressure on and he'll come back out. And that's why you want like a good rod. I've got the Stalker Legend, which is our new model, and we might even get this quick if he swims into the net, and he doesn't. And there we go. And a wonderful rod like that allows you to steer them round. It's a 9'6" weight, which is great for this style of fishing, and it certainly works. A couple of casts in there with the dry and gold. And actually he looked a bit smaller than actually what he is. So how many?
5.5.
5.5 pounds. So you go. It's hard to grizzle and complain about being stuck in your office, you know, today, because it's pretty dim, pretty boring, not much happening. It's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Stunning fish like that. I just can't say enough how cool this place is. This is absolute gold. Absolute gold.
We've got a bit of life in him. He wasn't quite ready, I don't know.
No. There was a net around him before he was still feeding. He didn't even realise anything was happening then. That was fantastic. And you could just see he was in shallow water, so he was. That's why we thought. I reckon we can get him on a dry. So Scott put like a little parachute and then a little emerger, and he can take his choice. We didn't care which one he ate as long as it was one of them. And once he got to see it, he really liked it. Well, there you go. That's a stunning fish. I mean, it's 5.5 pounds of absolute gold up in Southland. I mean, just the depth on that. I mean, it never really comes up on camera as big as they actually are, but he's got like the head on that is just incredible, and the depth on his body is just amazing, let alone the width. That is a big, powerful fish, and we did pretty well to net him in that small area. Got into the shallows, and Scott got that net underneath him before he even knew what was going on, which is just gold. And that's what it's about. A beautiful fish like that, and keeping them in the water for as long as you can. We want that oxygen going through the gills. You know, it's all good. We'll get a photo, but you've got to be quick and then get him back in the water again. So they're good. Just give them time to get their breath, and I think he's pretty good to go now. So that's just fantastic. Just hold him there. Yeah, once they're good to swim away like he is now, is perfect. He's got plenty of go left in him, and he'll swim away now and be ready for someone else to come up here and catch. He can get caught over and over again, which is, I guess, the beauty of fly fishing. You come to a place like this, sure, you've had some fun, but you're leaving it virtually untouched, which is fly fishing. That's what it's all about, and that's why you come to New Zealand and get experiences like this. Is just incredible.
Yes, well done.
In this case, convincing the brown to eat his emerger was the relatively easy part, as an epic struggle quickly unfolds that at different stages looks to go in either's favour.
See that weed on Gavin's line there? Doesn't help the cause at all when you're playing a good fish.
Probably see on the end of a line the weed that Daryl was talking about. Try and maintain it. He's run me up 50-60 metres and gone through a little bit of weed. So you try and keep a short line and hold that rod high.
There's the weed Gav's talking about again. Strong fish, very strong fish. Here he comes.
Oh. And that's why you come to New Zealand. That's amazing. Without any rocks in there, he's 6 1/4. So that's a fantastic fish, you know, even by New Zealand standards.
Typical New Zealand brown. Cracker.
Come on. Beautiful. Well, yeah, I think that'll about do me for the day. I'm quite happy to finish on a 6 1/4 pound in a spring creek. This is an outstanding fish. just incredible, the depth on that. And that's some of the fish you can contend with on one of our Hurley's fly fishing adventures. Magnificent, stunning fish. And we'll let him go, he's got plenty of go. Get a good, decent rod, something with a bit of go in it. This is a new Stalker Legend. They're ideal for this sort of setup. Sight casting to really big fish, great fun. So if you want to get to New Zealand, get in touch with us and we'll point you in the right direction. We're in the Mataura River, which is a great time of year in January and February for willow grub feeders, and they literally little caterpillars dropping out of the willows, and the trout absolutely love them. This time of year in New Zealand is really exciting fishing. Down in some of these lowland rivers like the Mataura and Wakaya and things like that, you get a lot of like duns and willow grub feeders on the top. We're going to look over for the willow grub feeders, which are funny enough going to be right near the willows. So we'd walk along here and look for rising fish. At times, if they're not rising, they may be just under the surface. So we'll look not necessarily for a rise, but for a change of colour. Might be a lovely light brown, might be a couple of feet long. You'll think it's a stick, then it'll move and eat something. That's what you look for. Put your willow grub right next to it. They like to hear that plop as it falls out of the willow tree. That attracts them. Come over and eat it. Strike, happy days. So, yeah, it was nice. It was just one I could just see at the back of these willows, and yeah, the sun certainly makes a big difference, to be come out here and fishing. I could just see the fish just there. And you get it first cast, which makes it pretty good there. I certainly like to think that your first cast is your best chance to catch these fish. Every time after that, you're virtually halving your chances. So you want to try and get it right the first go. And he sees your fly, and he has no indication that there's like an idiot on the other end of it. So it just puts things in your favour. If you can get your casting right the first time, it certainly helps. Come on, mate. Oh, nice one. That's a lovely brown from the Mataura there on a willow grub. So that's certainly a great start, where you can see your fish, plonk that fly right out in front of it, and he comes over and grabs it. Beautiful little brown from the Mataura, and he's easy, probably 3.5 pounds, but stunning fish. And he's keen to get away and do his own thing again. But yeah, it's a pretty good start when you can just see a fish, plonk it out, and he takes it. Just sets you up for a pretty good day. And this is what the fish are so attracted to. You'll see it like all through the willow leaves, these little bumps. You'll have a look on some of those when they have hatched out. Essentially it's like a little cocoon, and they'll just bite their way through there, and ideally they drop onto the ground. Unfortunately, with all these willows, well, for the willow grub anyway, drops onto the water. They die pretty quickly, and they die even faster once the trout eats them. Right, now this is the willow grub, which we've just pulled out from the willow tree there, and you can see it's got like a caterpillar with that hint of perhaps yellow or green with that little black head, and that just wriggles its way, and really good for the trout. There's obviously a lot of goodness in that. That's why they go so hard at them, and they feed whenever they can. They're like Labradors. Now we've just literally walked over to the first willows, and we've got quite a few fish running around here. There's some at the back that are not necessarily waiting under the willows, but they'll certainly take one, if not just from memory. But let's just plonk out this fly and see how we go. Coming up to it. There we go. And that's literally, he doesn't know what's going on, he's coming to me. That's literally what it can be like. And you can see a fish, and they're scooting around. They're really, I seriously think it must be like Toblerone to me is what willow grubs to these fish are like. And he's seen that, and they react to that splash as well. As that goes onto the water, they certainly react and know that's the splash that normally happens when a willow grub falls. and it'll be a good fish. On the Matara River, I guess the average size is probably 3 up to 5 is a really good fish. But you just don't get sick of catching 3.5, 4 pound fish on a dry fly on a day like this. It's pretty good fun. A 6-weight's much better to punch into the wind and to get this fish in fast. When we get him in, get that hook out and get another one. It's much better for the fish as well if we can do that. Get him in the net, and that's a pretty good start. So that's what we like to do over here in Southland in January. It's a great time of year to be over here, so if you get across here, do a bit of fishing, because it's going to be something you're really going to love. Great little tool I use, this catch and release, right on that fly, eventually, and it just pushes against it without harming the fish too much as well. So good little instrument there. We'll quickly get him out and just give you a quick look. It's important not to keep him out of the water, particularly in this weather when it's a little bit hotter. We don't want to spend too much time with this fish out of the water either. But for everybody at home, lovely little fish. He's easy, 3 pound, lovely brown. We'll send him on his way. Perfect. They each will have their own little territory, their own little house, I guess, and they'll work that area, and a bigger fish will chase out the smaller one because he knows that's the best feeding area. So some will just stay in their own little area, and we've just got to make sure we put the fly into that area. We've had quite a few casts at this one, and he doesn't take it. I suspect that's the one that we cast to before and hooked, and he'll look at that yellow fly now and go, hang on, that's got a bit of metal in it, I don't want to eat that one. So you can either change, well there's 2 here now, but you can change flies and just colour or size, or just find another fish like that. And then that's a little bit easier too. If you can just find a different fish who hasn't seen that fly, then that's a lot easier too than changing flies. So it's good when a plan comes together anyway. You've got to have a theory, and fly fishermen are the best theorists there are. So this worked out pretty good, but we'll get him in a sec, because there's still another 2 or 3 just in this little area that are dying to see that willow grub. Nice little jump. It's interesting they say that browns don't jump. I've seen a lot of browns, they certainly do jump, so and I would too if I had a hook in my mouth. They're good fighters. I always like what we're doing now, get the fly line back on the reel, so you're not getting it tangled around your feet. Now this one's pretty placid as it is, but if you get a bigger one, but if he's running and jumping and ripping out line, you can get it literally hooked on everything. So you often pay a lot of money for a decent reel. That's a Galvin, which I think are the best in the world. But you make use of it. It's got a good drag system. When it needs line, it'll pull it out. You just let that reel do the work, and that's what I think is the most important thing. Get it on the reel when you can, because if he tears off, I know the breaking strain of that tippet, and the reel's going to look after it. He'll just pull line as he needs it, so that's a good way of doing it. So we'll get him in and get him back and get another one. Hello, mate. Good, lovely little fish. It's probably 2.5 pound, but again, sight fishing. And I think the more fly fishing you do, the more important this sight caper is. So you want to see the fish, come up with a plan of what's going to get him to take, cast to it, and you see it all unfold as he swims over and eats it, and you strike and set the hook, and it all works out pretty good. So I think New Zealand, because the water's so clear, it's just so great for that style of fishing. So it's all pretty good there. Quickly, and it's just a lovely fish there. Actually, he's 2.5. Actually, he's probably caught to 3. So just a beautiful fish, stunning colours, but again, not too long out of the water. And if we do hold him up, you can just get, he's good to go already. But you hold them upstream, let that water come through the gills, oxygenate them again, they get plenty of go left, and off they go. So that's good. and we've moved 10 metres. It's pretty tough, this Southland fishing in January, so pretty tough. Now sometimes you'll see these fish as you're walking along and it will look exactly like that, that light fawny colour, and that's him sitting just under the surface waiting for the plop of a willow grub, and he'll shoot over and get it. At other times you might just be like there's one over the back here just feeding pretty regularly, and he'll dart around looking for the actual shape of the willow grub, hear the plop, and he's very aggressive towards it as well. So sometimes when you're chasing willow grubs, it's pretty exciting sort of fishing and very visual. One right over here by the back of these willows. Just heard the splash. Nice. Oh, good. Good solid fish. Come back here, mate. Come back here. Come back here. And that was good. You could just hear that characteristic plop. And that is the dinner bell. Around these willows, that's the dinner bell. Lovely dark coloured fish. And they're pretty stunning. And I always, you wonder whether what's better, the rivers or the backwaters themselves, because the fish, you can get some really decent fish throughout these backwaters, and they're just great fun because they've got a little bit of time. They're not easy, so you've got to make sure you're casting, your fly, all that stuff's in pretty good nick, because they've got a little, like lakes, they've got a little bit more time to look at everything and make sure it's what they want to eat. But the rewards are there once you get them. Beautiful. It's a terrible job I've got too, by the way. Just get him back in here now and just let that line come off as it needs to. And that's the time you don't want to panic and go, I just want that in the net and hold on. That's when they'll just break off and you start swearing, and yeah, it's no good for anybody there. So you just let that reel handle go and let the reel do its work. But I've got to steer him away from all that. And sometimes you can do that by throwing them off balance, with that rod on one side and then flick it to the other side. That just tends to unbalance the fish as he's tearing away, because we don't want him to get in amongst those willows. That's when it's just going to end pretty abruptly. And then when you're playing them normal, hold the rod up nice and high, nice little bend in it. That'll absorb any lunges. And when you think you're nearly right, I can wind that in a bit shorter and his head can stay up. And get him in the net, and you go, well, that'll work out much better. So it was perfect, perfect. Female with that straight mouth there, no hook jaw, in stunning condition and just beautiful, good to go. He'll second guess the next time he sees a willow grub to eat. He'll wonder if there's a hook in it. Good fun, perfect.
We've just been walking up the bank here, and quite often when there has been a bit of colour in the water, the trout, they don't like all this dirt and grit going through the gills either. So quite often you'll find them right up on the bank where it's quite clean water. So we've just spotted one up here. He's probably only a foot or so from the bank. So we need to obviously get a nice cast from a bit of an angle in there, not too far ahead, because you don't want your fly line going over the top. Just a leader, and with a bit of luck he'll take it. And he did. That was, it's probably hard to see back there, but I've got the blowfly pattern on where he's come up, saw that, he's moved a good 2 or 3 feet, and sometimes I'll do that to get a nice big dry. And we're going to go downstream again, but yeah, you've got to be happy with this. That's why you come to New Zealand. And we've got him in there. Again, it was tail first, but I just didn't want him to get in that fast water. And he's a good solid fish. For the Mataura, he's an absolute cracker. This is why you do it, to come across this a fish like this. Actually, he's closer to 7.5. That is an absolute thumper. This is why you come to New Zealand, to come across fish like that in a river like this. This is a dead set trophy in the Mataura River, so he's an absolute belter. Now, in real life, this is absolutely enormous. I can guarantee you he is enormous. I don't know how big your TV screen is, but he's massive, he's massive. Just the depth, it's probably hard to see in the coloration of these. This is a trophy fish out of the Mataura, easily the biggest fish I've got in the Mataura. And this is just absolutely magnificent. He is enormous, he is enormous. Just the depth on that, that is a magnificent fish. And that's what it's all about. Catching a fish like that is just awesome.
Lovely brown from this magnificent little backwater here on a willow grub. You need a rod with a bit of power to steer them around, particularly when you haven't got a lot of room. Stalker Legend, the ideal rod for this sort of situation. Get one and you're going to be successful. With fishing late in the season, it's a little bit different. You don't have to jump up at the crack of dawn. You get here, you wait for a little bit of sun on the water so you can spot the fish, but also a bit of heat. Cloud cover's also good for these duns to start popping as well. Right, we've got all 3 fish now in close proximity. The one on the left, that little back eddy's rising. And the 2 on the right. Actually, I'll go straight up the middle here, this one. Good. That's good when a plan comes together and that fish likes it. That's got a bit of power in that. There's a lot of rocks and everything over that side. Got to try and he was a bit surprised when there was a hook in that dun. We could be in a little bit of strife there if he goes, and I can't turn him from that. So all we've got to do is hold that rod up high and try and avoid some of these rocks, and we're in a little bit of strife downstream. He's just gone around a couple of rocks with that line. Right, just hooked up on the rock, but it should be okay. We can get in there and off. Are we still connected? Yep. And there we go. Just got a bit of power. I'll just try and get him out of this main current. Whew. It was hard work there for a little while. All that fitness work I've been doing. Good fish, good bit of go in it. We can keep him out of that current and we're all right. Nice big head on him too. He's good. So he's not as big as what we thought, but just fighting above his weight. Make sure he's in the net. Then we're all set. Well, there you go, that was a little bit of excitement. There you go, 4 1/4. No wonder a bit of grief. Once they get in that fast current, there's not much you can do. You've just got to go with them. I'll just bring him out and have a look at him. But he just looked like a relatively little fish when he was sitting there from the back. If you can just see, that's a typical Mataura brown. It's quite a good long fish, nice big head on him, a couple of years old. It's perfect. And he likes those duns too. It's good to go already. Perfect. And that had a hook in it too, mate. Sorry about that. That's beautiful. When you can see that whole head come out, that's why you go fly fishing. This is amazing. This is, I mean, nymph fishing, I agree, is much harder. But dry fly fishing is much prettier. This is incredible. That was beautiful. You can see these fish in there. They come up really dark brown just underneath the surface. And it's absolutely stunning. Just to hook that fish, you can just feel the weight in it. And this one's good. He's playing the game a little bit nicer than making me run all the way downstream. So just there's a few big rocks over that side, so I like to keep that rod sort of high. That'll keep his head, I suppose, steer him round a little bit more and away from digging into those rocks. And if I put it on the side there, that might turn him away from getting down in these rapids. Come on, mate, back the other way. Or it might not. They know where they want to go, and all right, we'll go down here. Now this is why, I mean, we have to wear rubber soles in New Zealand, and Mataura is renowned for its slimy brown rocks late in the season. That's why we put studs on them. I'll be back in a minute. He's got a bit of a hurry on. Righto, we've got him nearly. Still got a little bit to go. Just big, powerful fish. But if I can shorten this line, the shallow water, and then we get him in there. So that's good. Couple down the, send you down the stream a bit. Beautiful, just on a dry fly. Who says fishing's not fitness work? There we go. Beautiful, big old hard nut brown from the Mataura River. Been living on duns all his life. Just this one had a hook in it. Beautiful fish, beautiful. Good to go. Perfect. They're not bad, these fish. They give you a run for a money down those rapids. You know you're alive. Got one just under the surface here. Looks like a ripper. So we'll just throw that dry out. Got a few different currents here, so it'll, oh, here he is up the front. Righto. Finally, there we go. We've missed a few. Oh, he's a good fish, So we've got a little bit of timber, so that's what we're mindful of. We want to keep him out of that timber, because he'll do you straight away there. So if we can keep that angle on the rod this way, that'll drag him out a little bit. Well, my heart was going there. He's a good fish, and I could just see him just under that surface, and I knew if I get this little dun pattern in front of him, he'll take it. And he did, which is good. They're just stunning fish. When you can see him just under that surface, he's probably 6 inches under the surface. They just look so brown, they look so big as well. But I think this one will have a little bit of length on him. He's got a bit of go. I'll just have to get down there. We want to try and keep him as short a line as possible. 5 years. And they are territorial. So we'll put this one back, and you get a chance to come across on one of our trips. We might even take you to that log as well. He's still got a bit of go on him. That's right, I prefer getting below the fish, and then he's fighting up against the current. But this one doesn't want me to. And he's taken a while to get, so we've got all day to get him in the net. This She's a bit of a long drawn out affair. She's taken a while, but that's why you do it. This is why you go fly fishing too. When you see a beautiful fish like this, I mean the Mataura's not, it doesn't get massive fish in it like some of the other bigger rivers do, but ooh, beautiful. But to get something like that one in there, he'll easily be 4.5 pound. Could even be a bit bigger, but that's a good way to finish the morning. He's a fantastic fish. I'll get him out and show you. He's a male. You'll see with this hooked jaw, much like most get a beer belly, but 4.5. So that makes a great change to get a 4.5 pounder out of the Mataura River. And one of the blokes we had on one of our trips recently described the trout here. They look like leopards. They're just camouflage. They're just incredible. So I agree with you there, Tony. They do. They look exactly like leopards. But just the depth, huge big tail, plenty of power as you saw, and that big bump on the head. So he's had a few years on him as a really good nick. They're just a beautiful fish. So all we always do, I mean, you can just see the depth in that and the length. Yeah, if it wasn't a lie detector on the McLeans, you'd swear he was 6 pound. But just a beautiful fish, great colours, and you can see he's not that silver, and he's good to go now. And he'll swim off there, be happy as Larry. So, magnificent. Well, as you can see, the rain sort of slowed up a bit, but the cloud cover's still there, which is great for a really good dun hatch. It keeps the duns on the water for longer. And, you know, I can probably see about 25 fish rising all at once now. So, I'm going to put this fly in front of them. Hopefully they're going to take it. Come on, mate. Good. Oh, nice fish. And that was what looked like on the Adams. It wasn't working on all these other fish before, and I'd just like to step back a bit and get him right away from that undercut bank and some trees. And you've got plenty of room all out here where we can't cause too much trouble. Oh yeah, well that's always good. It's always good. Mine's bigger. You've heard that before though. Good fish though. I mean, they're still just rising up there. I mean, it's just great fun. It's great fun. I know he has taken the Huberts. It's a little trailing one, which is just sort of set in the film probably a little bit more. They're great colours. You can just see that deep browns and yellows in there. On a short line, we can keep his head up. Stop him getting away. Perfect. And a great fish. Just on 4 pound. Perfect. Great fish. Perfect. We'll get him back in.
Not very big though.
It's 4 pound. On the lie detector. Geez, they're cheeky, these boys, aren't they? Good. Good to go. Perfect. And Daryl's got him. Just persistence, mate. Just threw it in front of him. He thought there was another hatch coming on.
Still one in that corner there too.
Yeah, there's 3, and I'm.
There's at least 2 there, I know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good fish, that one.
The one at the front.
One that just flies in your seal.
Yep. I'll try and stop waiting when it goes over my nostrils. Oh. Which one do you go for first? There we go. Oh, nice one. Oh, yeah. Whoop. If I can come back. I said I'd stop before I got to my nostrils. Just as Daryl's, I mean, how many double hookups we've had on this Mataura. Can't talk with his rod in his mouth. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful fish. Excellent. This one's a good solid fish from up the top of the pool. Yeah.
Top one?
Yeah. And yeah, terrific fish. Just can't get sick of the Matara. Cannot get sick of the Matara. Well, you could. If you didn't like fishing, you'd probably get sick of the Matara, but I think we're pretty safe. And I think, yeah, I mean, New Zealand, I can't stop talking about it. I just love the place. Here, the fish are just big. They get born about 3 pounds and grow bigger. And the water's just so clear. And you've got fish that do that all day. Yeah, you just have to love it. It's magnificent. Just working up to the top. We want that head up. And we'll go head first. And he's going to duck away. We've got him in there. Ooh, he's a good fish. Oh dear. Magnificent, magnificent, magnificent. 2.5 pound? Yeah. 4.5. No rocks in there either, so 4.5 pound. Fantastic fish, fantastic fish. Unbelievable. I did ask Daryl if there was a fly made that catches them all, and he goes, nah, otherwise you wouldn't go fly fishing. But that's getting pretty close. Hubert's Red just works a treat when they're taking dries and when they're on the spent spinners and emerges, so that's just a great fly. There we go, just stunning colours, just the browns, golden and big. Just the start of that hook jaw really coming into play there as well. Just amazing fish. Huge big tail, plenty of power. Just a brilliant way to spend a bit of time in New Zealand catching these. Good. Perfect. Magnificent. And what a fantastic place to spend a bit of time over in New Zealand with the new Stalker Legend 25-year series fly rod. I've got the fast 6-weight. It's ideal for this sort of water when you're dealing with pretty big fish. And this is an outstanding specimen. Just on 5 pound, absolute beauty. And that's what you're dealing with a lovely 6-weight. Great fish to be catching with the Stalker Legend. If we lose one, there's going to be another one there. But the numbers are pretty good now. With this little bit of rain, they're coming up in pretty good numbers. We'll get this one over and have a look at him. It seems to be working, this little egg pattern. And I've swapped to a little bloodworm or an earthworm underneath it. So it's something that they're going to see and certainly attract their attention. It seems to be working. Beautiful little fish. Stunning colours once they get ready to spawn. Just get him in the net a little bit easier. Just a stunning fish. Just coming up to spawn is just fantastic. Bloodworm. We'll take out. Plenty of life left in him. There's a few more over there as well, so hopefully we can pick up a couple more. Interesting. That was one that I got him to take it before and watched him go back, and I essentially think that there's so much goodness in both a worm or an egg that they just can't resist it, and he's had another crack Just an incredible fish. If you can see that there, how dark that fish is, just from the top there, it's incredible that they really just change colour. Come up from, this will probably be a lake fish, come up here to spawn. Just get that net under in here. Get him in there, but that's a wonderful fish just the same, not as big as what the other ones have been, but still a stunning fish. And they have both browns and rainbows in this system, but it's certainly dominated by the browns at this time of year. And a good couple of pounds there. Yeah, good to go. Yeah, perfect. Plenty more. So in this fishery, you're just allowed to take one fish. We'll put them all back. I mean, it's much more fun catching them than it is eating them. Yes, the scenery's not changing very much because it doesn't need to. Sometimes in New Zealand, you literally have to walk miles and miles and miles to come across fish because they're particularly the larger ones, live in solitude and feed in solitude. This time of year, they certainly clump together. This one's got a bit more size to him. I can't sort of pressure him in, which is good. Size isn't everything. I keep saying that a lot, but the odd fish, it's pretty good to get one a little bit bigger. And we'll just coax him in his own time. And they're really loving that. This earthworm and the bead, we've said so much goodness in that, they sort of can't resist it. They're going to use a lot of energy. They probably swum up from the lake here is probably 40 kilometres or 30 kilometres, which is a fair way to swim. So they need a little bit more energy if they can get it. So anything they can pick up on along the way is a real bonus. Just feel it from the moment I hooked it, and you do tend to give him a little bit of stick. This one held his ground a little bit more, and all you can do is just take your time. If you rush it now, good chance you can break him off. Not that it really matters, we're going to let him go anyway, but it's just handy if you can get the odd one into the net. Makes at least it look like you know what you're doing. Almost. Right. What you can do is maintain pressure when he's going to go. You're just going to take your hand off that reel. But a good reel, that'll do the job for you. I've got a Galvin, which I find they're the best in the world. I'm going to get him in. Come on, mate. Up. Put that head up. Oh! Yep. Righto. There you go. Just when you think it's over, he's still got plenty to go. So, try and get below him. Working him now into these little shallows. There you go. And that's a good one to get in an area like this. I mean, he's going to be, I don't know, 4.5 pounds, could be 5. But just a stunning fish to get in this environment. It's worth putting on a raincoat and getting a little bit wet to get fish like this in a place like this. Just incredible. There we go. Lovely fish. Amazing dark colours, just on 5 pounds. So a beautiful fish there with that hooked jaw for the males there. And we'll just hold him in there. It'll take a little minute for him to get his breath back before he's good to go. A little bit wiser, and I'm a little bit happier as well. But he's perfect. Ooh, he gives a bit of a splash. So that's what it's about. If you can get up, you know, just when the season ends, doesn't matter, pack everything up and go home. There's plenty of places you can have some outstanding fishing over in New Zealand. So if you want some more information, certainly let us know. We'll bring you over here and show you a fantastic time, because that's what New Zealand's about. this will also contain a lot of browns that will come up, both that live here or come up from Lake Tianu itself, and it's an incredible fishery. I'll just to go downstream with him. He's only maybe a 3 pounder or so, 4 pound. Oh yeah, nice little fish. Just there you go, 3 1/4 pound. But a great fish when everybody's either back at home or tucked up on the couch. You can always find somewhere to fish in New Zealand. There you go. You've got a lovely brown. We'll get him back in. Perfect. There we go. Oh, and we've got, he doesn't even know he's hooked yet. Nice little brown. Just in this shallow water, which you can quite often get as they move up, you know, perhaps from the lake or what have you. So we might see if we can get him in the net early before he gets into all that fast water. But it's a great time of year. I mean, you can get, this is obviously one of the cracker days at the moment with blue sky and amazing mountain scenery up there with the snow on it. And if you can get out and catch a fish as well, that's pretty cool. I'll just shorten that line up a little. See if I can't slip the net under him before he knows what's going on. Just constant pressure. Oh, no. Oh, nearly. Come on, mate. Come on. No. And no. And that's what can happen. Once you've just got to go with them. Just hold that rod high and see if you can work him back in. But if not, there's not much you can do. Just try and head downstream with him and work him back in. Turn him a little bit before he gets that real fast water. Just keep the pressure on and hopefully he'll tire out. It's just hard to stop, so you've still got to always try and get below him and keep that pressure on, particularly when you're winding up as well. You can coax him into this quieter water. Whoop. Might be alright. Might be a bit better. Shallower water. Nice short line. I can slip this net underneath him. Head first and he'll swim. And there we go. Got a nice New Zealand brown in about the last couple of days of May, last couple of days of the season, and it's a fantastic fish. Even though there should well be like quite a few rainbows here, there's, well, at the moment we've just got a couple of browns and there seems to be a few more, so yeah, never get sick of catching what I'd say is at least a 4 pounder. Yep, spot on 4. There you go, lovely male, lovely brown. They're all different colours. This one's obviously a little bit darker and what have you, but in great nick. Lovely hook jaw up there. And he may be from the lake in Tianu, swum up to do his business, or could just be a resident. Perfect, good to go. Excellent. That's why you come to New Zealand. Just an amazing place. Lovely Southland brown here. Just look at the depth on that. That's an incredible fish. And on the new Stalker Legend 9'6" fast action, it's just great fun. You can really subdue these fish, and that's what you need in a place like New Zealand. When you're talking big fish, this is absolutely ideal for it. Look at the depth on that. Just an incredible fish. And we might send him on his way so that when you come over to New Zealand on one of our trips, we might introduce you to him as well.